over the course of about a year, I started to notice that I had some real discomforts when I was exercising, particularly anything that related into my hips and my lower back. Just started to notice that things were becoming a little more difficult to do, both in the gym and outside of the gym. So it was things like I would be sitting for a longer period of time, and I would go to stand up, and I would have to like actually pause for a period of time to allow almost like my hip to catch up with my body. So, well, it's a funny thing, but I love to cut my grass, and I love my riding lawnmower. And these are very simple tasks that I've just gone out and done before, but it got to the point where I would get up off the riding lawnmower and would have difficulties walking. I would have to stand there and kind of let my hip and my lower back catch up again, and then be able to start walking again. But I found that I started to avoid doing things that I once loved doing because it brought me discomfort. The doctors pretty much said you're getting older and that's the way it's going to be. And so for most people, I think that's the diagnosis that they're given, and that's their acceptance, is that, okay, well, you're just getting older and you got to just, start to do things differently around that. But that wasn't good enough for me. I knew that was not going to be an option for me. I'm not that old, and I'm active, and I'm healthy. So I wanted to continue doing the things that I love to do. So that's when I decided I need to have a different approach. Together we came up with a plan. She came up with a plan where I would essentially continue to do all of the things I had been doing, with paying more attention to my movement patterns, but that I would also train with her twice a week. And she worked on some very specific programming towards loosening up my hips and my lower back. And initially, it was like, it got better, but it didn't get great. And then it was funny because all of a sudden one day I was at home and she was there, and I went down the basement steps, which I had been up until recently like almost holding onto the railing to go down, and I literally ran down the steps and then ran back up, and I got to the top and I thought, what did I just do there? And I realized, this is working. This is actually working for me. So in January of 2022, and I relate it specifically to that because I went on vacation and I wanted to pick up a beach volleyball, and I could not bend over to pick up the beach volleyball. Like it was a process. I, honest to God, looked like a 100-year-old woman trying to pick up the beach volleyball, and sitting down in a chair at the pool was delicate. So that was January of 2022, and easily by the summer of 2022, but most definitely by the fall of last year, huge improvement. And then we just continued. I wasn't going to be happy with just good enough. My expectations were, I knew that I could get better. I just didn't know how much better. So I expected that between us, we should be able to figure out at least 50% of the problems. I was not expecting to get as good as it got. So I am now at the point where we just finished the CrossFit Open, and I do everything scaled regardless, but I had a wonderful Open. I finished very well and very strong in that for my division, and I've registered for Beach WOD this July, and I will be able to do all of the movements as written, and that's pretty exciting. There were setbacks. Like there were times when I would be like, oh, look at me, I can, squat full depth, and then the next week maybe I couldn't. And again, if I felt pain or discomfort, like that was what my check-ins with her were all about twice a week, is we start every session with, how are you feeling? And initially I would give answers like, good, but good isn't really what she was looking for. It was like, okay, in terms of pain, where are you at with that? or discomfort. It's not always necessarily pain, it's just discomfort. That there are options out there, that, you know, picking up groceries should not be difficult, or you know, sitting in a chair for 20 minutes should not be impossible to get back up and get up, right? I learned a lot about that, and I learned a lot about you know, things like sitting properly and maybe standing properly, and doing just really small little changes that have made big differences.